Let's look at the SPX. I said I was going to look at the SPX. Shout out to homie Z. SPX looks up. Look at that big gap right there. Let's look at the SP Izzle. SPX got a nice volume imbalance, whereas the ES had like 1 point. So the SPX got a nice juicy volume imbalance, giving more reason, hey, let's get down there and get that on the monthly level. Let me mark that out. The ES don't have this volume imbalance. It's only like 1 point. It's only like 1 point on the ES. But the SPX got a bigger size volume imbalance. Right. Weekly. Weekly. Okay, so we got the volume imbalance sitting right there on top of a weekly order block right here. So more reason to come down, get that volume imbalance, get into this weekly. We got this weekly order block right here. We took care of that volume imbalance on that, overlap that. So the SPX actually looking better than the ES, like candle wise. You know what I'm saying? Candle wise, but again, the SPX only trade 9 to 4:30. So these candles only show 9 to 4:30 action. So that's the weekly order block right here. Weekly bullish order block right there. Daily. Okay, so we got the relative equal lows here. Right. We didn't get all the way down on the SPX like we did on the ES. All right. Come back down. We have this daily breaker right here. So we got a daily breaker in the same spot where we got a daily breaker in the same spot where we got a monthly volume imbalance. So we got a daily bullish breaker in the same. And for anybody who don't know what I'm talking about with any of this stuff, the volume imbalance on the monthly, I'm sorry, I should have said that before. The volume imbalance on the monthly here is where the bodies of the month of the candles don't overlap. We got wicks overlapping, but when the bodies of the candle don't overlap, that's what ICT call a volume imbalance, right? So on the monthly, we got a volume imbalance on the SPX. On the weekly, we got a weekly order block, right? So with the weekly order block here, we came down, price came down to an area of support. We had a fair value gap right there. So it came down to this fair value gap and then took off, you know what I'm saying, breaking the high of this down weekly candle right here, making that an order block because we came down to an area of support, right? And then took off with heavy distribution, gave us a weekly order block right there, right? So we got a weekly order block. That's where I marked that out. And then on the daily time frame, right, we came up. This high of this price leg right here came down, right, and broke below the low, right? So this high came down and broke this low. We got a swing low here. We broke that low and then took off with heavy distribution to the upside. So that's a daily breaker right there. This last up close candle, right? That's the daily bullish breaker right there. So now we got a whole lot going on right here. The algos left a lot of breadcrumbs in this area. They left a monthly volume imbalance, right? They left a weekly order block, and they left a daily breaker. All of these PD arrays are in the exact same place, right? They're in the exact same place. So let's see where they are from the height down to So this price leg here, all of that stuff is right at equilibrium in a slight discount, right? So from the high of where we went now to the low of this last, price leg right here, the full price leg, you see equilibrium right there is at 38.99.33, right? The volume imbalance, the breaker, and the order block, they're all right there at equilibrium. It's from equilibrium to a slight discount. Let me flip my fib so we can see how much of a discount it is. So if I flip my fib around and put it as if we want to go to the upside, right? So the bottom, the mean threshold of the order block. Let me find the mean threshold of the order block. So the mean threshold of the order block is 38.26.40, 38.26.18, right? So the mean threshold of the order block is right here. All right, so boom. So the mean threshold of the order block, we're just gonna go with the close of this gap right here. That's what we're gonna look at. So the close of that gap puts us into right at close to a 70% retracement. All it from the 62 to the 80, all of this area right here is ICT's remember the OTE when everybody was on OTE. Let me mark this out like this right here. Right there. Remember back in the day when everybody was OTE drunk? Who remember that? Who all remember when everybody was OTE drunk? Right? Who remember when everybody was OTE drunk? All right. So this whole area right here that I outlined, right? That's ICT. That's ICT OTE entry coming back down. Like if you come back down, that's the top of the OTE at 62%. That's the bottom of the OTE at 79, right? That's ICT OTE entry area, right? In the OTE entry, look at all the stuff we got there in that area. The algos left a lot of breadcrumbs. We had a volume imbalance. We had a daily breaker. We got a monthly volume imbalance. We got a daily breaker, and we got a weekly order block, all with it, with the exception of the monthly imbalance. All the weekly order block and the breaker are all within the OTE range, right? And then equilibrium was, I think it was right at the top. Was it at the top of the price leg? Yes, equilibrium was right at the top of the volume imbalance. All right, so it's a lot going on right there. Hopefully next week when we get into FOMC, we get down to this right here so I can start looking for the scale, because there's a lot to go through right there. It's a lot to get through in that area. It's a lot of breadcrumbs sitting there that can potentially act as support to you know what I'm saying, give us the continue the bullishness, right? And shout this, I just not noticed this. I just not noticed this right here. Shout out all my trend line traders. Shout out all my trend line traders. Get a ray. Shout out all my trend line traders, right? Go to the first touch. What is it? It's first touch, right? Don't they do first touch? Swing it out. Come to first touch. Right. Shout out all my trend line traders. First touch. I just noticed that when I was looking at the bottom of the daily right there, right? All my trend line traders, we starting to try to form an uptrend, right? All this stuff is subjective. This trend line stuff is subjective, but I don't trade trend line, but it's a lot of people who trade trend line, but we starting to try to form an uptrend. You know what I'm saying? Yes, true, there's still a bear market rally because we still in a bear market, but you see it starting to try to form an uptrend, right? When the higher time frames show you like a inkling of what it want to do, on the lower time frames, it's steady developing. So people gonna be watching stuff like that. And then we got all of this resistance right here to the downside, right? Support. We got all of this support to the downside. I said resistance, but we coming down to all of this potential support right here, right?